Hello and welcome to Security Scan. I'm Vishal, Dahiya, and this week we're going to talk about anti-drone systems. Now, the use of drones or unmanned aerial vehicles, both for military and civilian purposes, has increased manifold in the recent past. At the same time, counter-drone systems or anti-drone systems are also being developed to address the threats posed by these drones or UAVs. Today, we're going to talk about all these aspects, the threats caused by the drones or UAVs and how to tackle those threats, what kind of systems are being developed, and specifically where does we, that is in India, stand in terms of developing those systems. We have a distinguished panel of guests with us in the studio. For more on this, let me first introduce them to you, beginning with Retired Lieutenant General Dr. V.K. Saxena, who is a distinguished fellow with VIF. We also have with us Retired Group Captain Ajay Lele, Senior Fellow at IDSA, and Ajay Banerjee, the Defense Correspondent of the Tribune. Welcome, all of you gentlemen, to Rajya Sabha Television. Let me begin with you, Group Captain Lele, and let's start by understanding the threat perception, the threat caused by drones, because these unmanned aerial vehicles initially and now also are being considered a sort of a disruptive technology in terms of making everything reachable, easy, and also from the military perspective, very, very important. But there is a threat perception also attached to it.
I think if you really go back to the history, drone systems are not new systems. They have been used in militaries for last couple of decades. But of late, the nature of a threat has increased significantly. There are various reasons for this. Basically, the miniaturization of a drone, which has become possible in recent times, if you really look at usage of a drone, it initially started as something what we call in military parlance as a force multiplier. Okay. So basically, the activities which were difficult for the manned aircraft to undertake, those activities were undertaken by the drones. So drones started their business in military warfare as a system which will assist you for gathering of intelligence first. Subsequently, drones got renamed as something which is known as a combat system also. So when you're calling a drone initially as a unmanned aerial vehicle, it became an unmanned aerial combat vehicle. So the drone started coming into a combat role also. Over a period of time now, there are certain amount of autonomous drones also. We started with drone systems which were controlled by the human beings. You got a pilot who is sitting on the surface of the earth on ground controlling the drone. But now you got a fully autonomous systems where the drone system, which is backed by AI, can take its own decisions. Particularly loitering munitions and other activities which are associated with drone systems now are in a fully autonomous mode. Where are these systems which have been used in the initial time? In the initial time, you were using drone systems, particularly beyond intelligence gathering for the activities, what we call suppression of enemy air defense attacks. That means a drone can go and hit itself onto an enemy radar installation. So this is the way the usage of a drone started into warfare. Particularly 1991 Gulf War saw a very intelligent use of drone systems. But now what we are seeing in recent times, particularly what happened in Azerbaijan and adjoining regions in recent times when anti-drone systems were also put in use, people have started realizing that drones have been used for various purposes. Now people are using drones even for arms dropping also. So the nature of the animal or the beast now has increased significantly, and from a mundane system which was used only in a passive mode for intelligence gathering has now totally become a very active system. And this active system has become further potent because now you got a concept of a swarm drones. So there are a lot amount of small systems also which are put in place. So it is becoming increasingly difficult for the adversaries if its adversary is mounting an attack with large drones or small drones.
Okay. So the improvised use of drones definitely causes threat to the other side. Let me bring in General Saxena here. General Saxena, your views as far as the threat perception or the kind of danger drones or UCAVs or UAVs pose to a particular nation.
Sir, I will talk of the threat perception in specifics from our potential adversaries, because Group Captain Lele has already covered the entire gamut of what drones can do. But what drones can do in our scenario is what is most important. First of all, take the case of China. If you consider drones, they are classified in the terms of altitude and endurance. So there are two types. One is medium altitude, one is high altitude and long endurance. Medium altitude around 25,000 to 50,000 feet and high altitude 60,000 and above, and endurance from 24 to 32 hours. Now it is for us to realize that China has got the Male, that is the medium altitude drones, of variety, VZK, JG1, GJ1, GJ2. It has got high altitude drones in terms of EA03, WZ07. And the most threatening, we have to be careful about is a drone called Wing Loon, which is in the class of Predator MQ-9 drone. This drone has got a payload capability of 480 kgs and a range of 4,000 kilometers. It can carry air-to-surface missiles. It can carry precision-guided munitions. Ajay was talking about the anti-radiation missiles. It can carry guided rockets. It can carry bombs. It can carry laser-guided other bombs. Now, besides this, their drones are now coming in combination with the manned platforms. That means they operate with the manned platform. That operation is called manned and unmanned teaming. China has got drone, which is MUMT, man and unmanned teaming capable. One is Winglong itself is capable. There is a drone called Skyhawk or Tiangying drone, which is very capable, and Yuanji 11. Swarm, Ajay brought out the swarm. China has got both rotary swarm as well as normal swarm drone. Coming to Pakistan. Now, Pakistan started long back with first generation drones, with only intelligence and surveillance capability, Ibabil, Baz, Yaqub, Jasus, etc. Then it could not make drones on its own, so imported a large number of drones from many countries. From China, it imported ASN series of drones. From Germany, it got Luna. From UK, it got Snipe and Streak. From South Africa, it got Seeker. But something happened in 2009. When it failed to get the MQ-9 Predator from US, it started its own development based on its CH-3 drone of China. It developed a drone called Buraq. This Buraq drone has got a range of 1,000 kilometers. It's got a speed of 215 kilometers and a service ceiling of 7,500 meters. With this, it can carry guided bombs, rockets, air-to-surface missiles. So if you drone capability of our potential adversaries, both Pakistan and China, in any future war, our systems will be vulnerable to drone strikes. And drone strikes not only on anti-radiation radiating targets. These drones have active seeker and electro-optical devices. They can carry on a surveillance of the battlefield and can also take on non-radiating targets. So if you talk about threat perception, the threat perception from Pakistan and China in the drone strike capability is live and active.
Okay. Ajay Banerjee, I'd like to bring in here. Ajay, would you agree with General Saxena there in terms of threat perception to us from the immediate neighbors being alive and active in the kind of drones which General Saxena pointed out in possession of China as well as Pakistan does underline the need for us to have those anti-drone systems?
Vishal, I will not just agree with General Saxena, I'll add a few more things. In the past 6 months, things have changed rapidly in the drone systems. One, the US has given out contract to 3 companies to make what General Saxena said, unmanned-manned pairing. Now, an unmanned jet, it will be like an unmanned jet which will go with a combat patrol. Probably the leader will be the unmanned jet and the manned jet will be behind. So unmanned pairing is that kind of thing the US is working at. They've given contract to 3 companies, as I repeat myself. Also, there is a talk of, or rather, the US agency has spoken about air-launched UAV, which will be recovered in the air only. Means a big airplane will launch UAVs. The UAVs will do the job and come back to the aeroplane. They need not come back to the ground. So that means you can be operating far away. So that's called an air-launched UAV. By the way, we also have been speaking to the US about this air-launched UAV or a swarm drone from the air. That is the way things are moving. The Indian Air Force conducted a competition called the Meher Baba competition. Commodore Meher Singh, it was named on the name of Commodore Meher Singh. The Meher Baba competition went off very well. They even roped in a foreign consultant, if I remember correctly, to come and guide them. And foreign, I mean an Indian origin American consultant was roped in to guide them. And the US and the Indian Air Force did some tests somewhere in the Western sector. Also this January, the Indian Army carried out a test of a locally made drone. made by a Bangalore-based company somewhere in Faridkot. It was also a success. So we are doing two things very well. One the Air Force is doing, one the Army is doing. These two things are happening on a small sector. But when we talk of the bigger range drones or the armed drones, that's where America has taken the lead, and possibly it is now amended its laws also to sell out drones to more countries. Like the Predator has been in the past 4 or 5 months being sold off to Morocco, to Taiwan, to UAE. By the way, UAE was buying drones from China, is now buying from back to US with the MQ-9B, the Predator, as John Saxena was referring to. And we have leased 2 of the MQ-9Bs from the US. So US has changed the laws. Things are changing very quickly in the drone world at the moment. And I think we are catching up, but a lot of catching up needs to be done in case of armed drones. The small drones, we are doing well. That's how I see it, Vishal.
Okay, definitely things are changing very rapidly because this is to do with technology. Now let's talk about the anti-drone systems which are required to go ahead and tackle the threat posed by these drone systems in possession of the enemy. Now, Group Captain Lele, recently we've seen a number of anti-drone technologies being demonstrated by DRDO, and some others are being spoken about or written about as well. So where would you place India in terms of the anti-drone system capabilities, and what is there which needs to be done from here onwards to ensure that we don't only have drones, but we also have the capability to tackle the threat posed by them?
I think if you really look at the history of a warfare, for any sort of a weapon or any sort of a weapon platform, always there has been something which has been come to defeat it or to hoodwink it. So from that point of view, coming of or emergence of anti-drone systems is not new. As far as your electronic warfare is also concerned, you can always say that there is something which is known as the ECM, ECCM, so on and so forth. So all those activities are happening. Anti-drone techniques are there since early 90s. As far as India is concerned, I think we are just the beginners. But to put it in context, I think as far as anti-drone techniques are concerned, broadly speaking, they are based on 4 categories. One is a radar surveillance, audio surveillance or acoustics, then video surveillance and RF surveillance, so radio frequency surveillance. So based on all these things or a combination of these things, you try to develop anti-drone techniques. It's not only essential to develop only anti-drone techniques, because these are the techniques which are essentially passive techniques which will help you to detect the something. But after detecting something, how are you going to address that threat? Are you going to interject it? How are you going to address that? So there also you got technologies which have been developed, which are again dependent on either you get into the jamming part of it. So nowadays you got systems which are able to allow you to do a GPS jamming also, because most of the drones are controlled by the GPS technologies. So you get into either radio frequency jamming or you get into the GPS jamming also. Then there are spoofing techniques also which are used, where you take over the drone's communication systems and try to guide the drone, which is an enemy drone, based on your requirements and based on whatever the coordinates which you are feeding to those drones. Then you got other things where you can actually attack the drone also. More importantly, there are certain laser systems also which are in place, where you can use these systems, particularly put a directed energy attack onto the drone, try to ensure that the airframe of that drone gets disabled. Obviously, the drone will fall down. So as far as anti-drone techniques are concerned, first you have to identify the techniques for the detection of the incoming threat and how you are going to nullify that. So even for nullifying these threats, you got platforms which are available into various modes. You will have ground-based platforms. You will have platforms which are either based in drone itself. So it will be a drone-to-drone warfare also, or you got certain amount of handheld systems also which are there. This is basically a cat and mouse sort of a game. For every new drone technology, you will have to ensure that anti-drone technology also comes in. But before ending, I think I would like to make a point over here that the policy options are not only restricted to technologies. You need to have certain legal and other provisions also. That means how the country will use drone systems, what are the legal mechanisms for it, what are the rules and regulations, policy decisions which have been taken. All those things are very important, because every nation has got its own policies. There is no common policy which is available, and that's why every country is facing a lot amount of problems that how to address the threat of an incoming drone threat.
Okay, definitely. That indeed is a very important part there. General Saxena, your views on India's entire drone system capability and then the kind of systems which we need to develop to tackle those threats which you were earlier referring to in your first answer.
I will like to keep myself to specifics, and I will start by saying that for anti-drone technology, there are two major challenges which the country faces, and we have to look at it. What is the first challenge? The first challenge is detection. Because of the RCS, the radar cross section of a drone. What is radar cross section? Is the degree of detectability. Higher the RCS, the greater chances of detectability of a particular drone. This is the first challenge, very difficult to detect. RCS. Now, the Horov drone, which was used in Azerbaijan-Armenia battle, has got a RCS of 0.5 meters square. A normal combat aircraft has got a RCS of 2 to 3 meters square. F-16 has got 1.23, like that. So this is first challenge. And what is the second challenge? Second challenge is penny versus penny. What does it mean? It means a few $100 drones need to be killed by a few $100 kill system. There is no point launching $1 million missile to take out a few $100 drone. So detection and penny versus penny are the two challenges India faces. How do we solve it?
Okay.
Firstly, India is solving it in 9 different methods. For as far as detection is concerned, radar detection, Ajay already brought out, the radar frequency band starts from zero point 0.2 gigahertz to goes to 300 gigahertz. It is from HF to THS. But there is a particular frequency band, 6 to 15 gigahertz, L, X, K and Q, where the precise detection is possible. We are looking into that type of radars. And also the latest radar, which are active electronically scanned array radars, which can look at drones. But drone detection through radar is not the full solution. So we are already looking into electro-optical system. DRDO has already come out with one. What is the electro-optical system? Electro-optical system has got a day camera, a night camera, a laser rangefinder, and a processing device. It can take on a 3D dynamic image of a drone and show it to the operator against a clutter or a noise background in which it can be observed.
Okay.
An acoustic solution is also being looked at. These are all detection. Now, what about the kill challenge? India is handling the kill challenge in 9 different ways. What is the first way? Catastrophic kill. What is catastrophic kill? Launch a low power interceptor onto the drone and kill it through a catastrophic collision. The system in the word Cougar, Peregrine Eagle, ARD was developing such a system. I cannot tell you the success or failure of it. It is classified. Second is high rate of fire air defense guns. Now, you know that Zu-23 gun fires 1600 rounds per minute. Shilka fires 3400 rounds per minute. The Mushka fires 4000 to 5000 rounds per minute. The Gatling guns fire up to 10,000 rounds a minute. If you can detect the drone through electro-optical devices, you can take it on by this high-powered drone. Now, people have not gone to the air defense guns. They have gone forward. Navy has just ordered, recent past, a device, electro-optical device called SMASH. Now, what does it do? It is an electro-optical device which is fitted onto small arms, AK-203, AK-47. And when they fire a small arms, you try to bring down the drone.
Okay.
Then it's a matter of pride to tell you that our own country, there's a company called M2K Technologies. They have come out with an RF drone gun. If you fire the drone gun, it throws an RF signal, which cripples the contact of the drone with the ground control station, even can disorient the drone. Then there's a solution called electronic fencing. DRDO is working on it. What is electronic fencing? You erect an electronic fence 5 to 700 meters. Any drone entering that area, you subject it to jamming attack for whatever happens. Now, this attack, which spoofing attack, which Ajay was talking, is a reality today. There is a weapon system called Sky Control of Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
It spoofs the drone. And of course, hacking and high energy lasers are other solution.
Okay.
And latest is drone fishing. An aircraft or a system goes which throws out a net and catches a number of drones, swarm drones, and takes it to a harmless area.
Okay.
So all these fields are looked at in a big way. I've just written about it, but to tell you the exact gap and status, because we have old vintage air defense guns and weapons, our radars will fail in detecting the drones. Our weapon systems will be subjected to anti-radiation strikes. So all this work is going on to defeat the drone. But the exact status is classified. I cannot be telling that here.
Definitely.
But suffice to say and to reassure the audience that multiple solutions in anti-drone technologies is being looked at.
Okay, definitely. There are multiple solutions and they are being looked at right now. Let's have concluding comments from Ajay Banerjee here. Ajay, quite an apt, summary by General Saxena there in terms of the kind of options you have when you talk about anti-drone systems and the way India is working on that. So from here onwards, if you look at, the future and not only the utilization of drones, but as Group Captain Lele was pointing out, an answer to that, that is the anti-drone technology.
Vishal, yes. See, how I see it is that we are doing very well, but I would also want that we do very good. We are actually doing very well with our allies, like the US and the Israelis also. We have been in talks with them for this anti-drone technology for long, and some development has taken place in India. This anti-drone technology will have to come in if you have to survive in the future battlefield. One, you will have to have drones, that is one part. Second, you have to defeat the enemy drones, small drones, armed drones, medium drones, high altitude drones, armed drones. There'll be multitude of, and I have just named 5 or 6. There could be 10 of those varieties. It could range from a tactical battlefield drone, which will just be 5 kilometers, to a high altitude, long endurance drone, will be up there for 42 hours. You could be facing that kind of stuff. So that will need a wide range of anti-drone technologies.
Okay.
That could be a handheld gun, a laser gun, to even a long-range air defense missile. Iran recently brought down a US drone over the Persian Gulf 6 months ago. So a long-range missile was fired to bring it down. So that is the kind of thing, that is the kind of sweep of technology you'll have to defeat the drones of the enemy, which may be of various types. How I see it, Vishal?
Okay, definitely. Thank you so much there, Ajay Banerjee, General Saxena, as well as Group Captain Ajay Lele, for sharing your views with our viewers on the issue of anti-drone systems. And as our panelists pointed out, there is a lot of work being done as far as India is concerned in terms of putting in place specific and very effective anti-drone systems, looking at all aspects to tackle the threat posed by drones or UAVs or UCAVs, whatever we choose to call them. We'll come back again next week with a different topic. Till then, keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.